Why do more students choose Ivy Tech Community College over any other school? Ivy Tech offers flexibility, a wide variety of programs, and thousands of classes, including online options. Our certificates and degrees get students into a great career quickly. And if you want an affordable path to a bachelor's degree, we have guaranteed admissions programs with most four-year universities in Indiana. So you can start at Ivy Tech and transfer as a junior. Ready for a great education at the lowest cost? Complete a free application today.
Hey, it's Ash Mack here with Hot 96.3 as we continue to get uplifted, get inspired, and this weekend is all about inspiring her, hearing from women that make a difference each and every day. March is Women's History Month, but we make history each and every day. So I'm talking to a few experts that do this. So let's call this panel Women Building the Future with Careers in Trade, being brought to you by my friends at Ivy Tech. So let's bring all of our panelists to the stage.
Hi, my name is Alexis Mitchell, and I'm a union electrician.
Hey, Alexis.
Hello.
Hey, Akilah, let's let the people know, what do you do?
Hello, my name is Akilah Darden. I am president of the Darden Group. We are an executive construction management firm.
Okay, perfect. Now we got Sue here.
Hi, thank you for having us. I am the vice president for the School of Advanced Manufacturing, Engineering, and Applied Science at Ivy Tech Community College, and the trades are in my school.
Okay. Hey, Natalie.
Hi, Ashmack. So I am in Ivy Tech's program, industrial program for welding at the moment, and I recently was certified in shield metal arc welding. I'm in the TIG class right now, and we'll be finishing with MIG and fabrication.
We got a lot to discuss, okay? And I think we got one more guest. Sarah, hey, what's going on?
Hi, I'm Sarah Isaac. I am a welding instructor through Ivy Tech.
Now, I think this is amazing because we don't typically have the conversation enough, or there isn't a spotlight when it comes to careers in trade, number one. More importantly, women in trade. And then a lot, it sounds like the common denominator overall is welding. When do you typically hear about women in welding, period? Maybe you do because, you know, you work in it. But, you know, overall, that's not something that we hear often. So I would love to discuss this more. And first things first, how did you get into your career paths? Feel free to touch that in. I would love to know.
I mean, I basically, like, my dad taught me how to weld, and I kind of picked it up from him. And I found that it was like a really big stress reliever for me. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to go for it. And here I am now.
Sarah, what was the biggest stress reliever for you? Because you said it was a stress reliever, but, you know, what type of thrill or, you know, excitement did you receive, and which part of welding gave you that feeling?
Mainly just, you know, it's when people hear welding, they think, oh, that's a male trade, you know, women don't belong there. And, you know, so it was nice for me because I went in and I went to school and I went into all of my classes with my head held high, and I kind of showed them up, and I was like, you know what, if this is what everybody thinks, I'm going to show you what's up. So
okay. Sarah wanted all the smoke. Ready. And I'm sure, you know, all of us can say that for our career paths, especially in the fact of it being, well, per se, portrayed as being male dominated. You know, how do you continue to create your own lane and not being fearful in any aspect of it being typically portrayed or seen as a male dominated or only male role to play for that job?
I'll jump in there. I'm a little bit different. I'm in construction, so I manage multiple trades on the job site, and I love math, and I was good at Legos. I went to North Carolina A&T, majored in architectural engineering. I was going to be an architect, and quickly turned to construction. So on the construction site, I manage all the trades, whether it's welding or masonry or concrete or even mechanical, electrical, plumbing. To see all the trades working together to finish a project on time and on budget, and an infrastructure that creates community is my passion, and I love it.
Okay, Aggie Pride.
Okay.
Don't get excited. I went to Norfolk State. It's behold the green and gold over
It's
here.
all love. It's all love.
It really is. But what did you love about construction so much? Because again, another job that we've seen that has been male dominated, and not only do you dominate, you're running things. You know, you serve as the president. So how do you continue to fight these stereotypes that we always live, or these norms that society has built for gender roles and jobs that women should only have, quote unquote?
One is confidence. If you have a team of people that believe in you behind you, you can do anything, especially in spaces where people decide that you don't belong. And what I try to do is learn as much as I can about each project, so that I take away that sense of, is she true to construction? Does she know what she's talking about? So I make everyone comfortable when I'm around and confident that I'm going to build their project on time, under budget. And it's just having the mentality of, fighting adversity to be successful, and knowing that there are people that are looking up to me to pave the way as a female manager in construction.
Now, Sue, you're the VP of Advanced Manufacturing, Engineering, and Applied Science. How could you attest to some of those similar things working in your field?
Sure. Well, I've always been in this non-traditional role in male-dominated sector like manufacturing, and then even in education. Manufacturing and education and applied science was all male-dominated, and so it is. I back to what Akilah was saying. You have to have the confidence. You have to really work hard. You have to work twice as hard. As your male counterparts, but it is very rewarding. And I think that, there I see, as I, have students from the time I started with Ivy Tech until now, so many students that have gone through and gotten great jobs and great careers just going into the non-traditional trades and non-traditional roles in manufacturing, because employers really, really are looking for that, that other person, that other perspective.
When we come to talking about the other perspective with non-traditional roles, for all of you, could you name one or two times that was the turning point for you where you said, you know what, I think I'm actually truly going to pursue this and I'm going to give it my all, regardless of what anybody else is telling me, regardless of what you're seeing? And if you've had an example or not in front of you, because maybe you didn't, right? Maybe we all have dreams and goals and aspirations where we don't have someone that looks like us in those positions.
Sure, I'm happy to start. I started my career in manufacturing, and I was the supervisor for folks that were the same age as my dad. And so it was really difficult, and they were all male, of course, and there were very few women in manufacturing at that time. And then I really learned to love that collaborative and productive atmosphere that was in manufacturing, and it's very innovative always, and so I really came to love that, and I thought, this is something I can really see myself doing. Then an opportunity came up at the college to develop apprenticeship programs, and I thought, hey, that's great. I can still work in manufacturing and do the apprenticeship role at the college by working with manufacturing companies. And so, that's something to overcome, though, because, nobody sees you as being in that apprenticeship space, so that, it was a very non-traditional kind of role at the time. Now, as you can see for these other lovely women on this call, there are lots of folks in there now, and hopefully we'll have more and more.
Would anyone else like to share a little bit of your story?
So I can speak on it. So I knew I always wanted to be an electrician, but I was always encouraged to go to a 4-year college. So I did go to college, but after 2 years, I had enough and I was ready to become an electrician. So I dropped out of college and it was sink or swim. So I had to make being an electrician work, and I just went into it and it worked for me. So as long as you put your mindset where you can do it, you can accomplish it. And I know there is a lot of males working in the field, but you have to blur that out and just do the work. It is not that hard.
I can chime in as well. One was someone told me I couldn't do it. And that's the worst thing you can do to me, is tell me I couldn't do it. The second was just fighting adversity. My first project that I managed was in downtown DC. It was 10 feet away from the oldest Catholic church in DC, across the street from attorneys for the World Bank. And I had to put an 80-foot hole in the ground and build an 11-story office building 2 blocks away from the Verizon Center and 5 blocks away from the White House. So anything and everything they gave to me, and I was determined at that moment, not only was I going to have a successful project, I was going to have all my neighbors be part of the project and being allies for the project. And we finished on time and on budget. And because of that project, I was able to go on and build almost $2 billion in construction, only because I just faced adversity and knocked it out of the park.
I like what you mentioned. You said determined to be successful. In 2020, 2021, I think a lot of times people want to be successful because there could be a financial gain, or being a millionaire, or having some type of revenue to profit from it. How do you make sure to be determined to be successful, but to making sure that you have a gain that's not always financial? How did you truly find your passion and what you do every day?
One is you have to learn as much as you can, tackle the biggest issues first in a timely fashion, but most importantly, bring people along with you. You don't know everything. If you can bring all the experts in, coordinate, collaborate, and effectively communicate, you can be successful. It has to be success first before monetary gain. That will come as long as you continue to be successful. But I would also like to say is, being exceptional is not an option. You can make mistakes, but you have to just be exceptional in what you do and go for the hard stuff.
Perfect. My next question is for Alexis. You mentioned that you dropped out of college. And I think your story is very important to tell and share, because Inspire Her is to talk to all women of all creeds, of all backgrounds. And a lot of times we see in the society we live in that if you don't get a degree, you're not deemed to be successful. What do you tell that person that could easily be in the situation that you were, or they don't even see college as an option at how do you make sure to speak to them to let them know that it's possible for you to still work and have that desired career path that you truly want to be in?
Absolutely. So college is pushed a lot, and there's nothing wrong with college, but people need to understand that college and school is not for everybody. So there are other opportunities where you can take, and mine is a trade. So there are plenty of trades you can take, even cosmetology, that's a trade, barbering, that's a trade, construction trade. So there are other things that you can take, and there's money in it too. People are surprised how much money there is in construction trades, but we make just as much as a person that has a college degree. So there is still hope if school is not for you, or that's just not the route that you want to take.
Is that a part of anybody else's story too?
For me, I did go to school eons ago, it seems now. I went to Purdue for business. My major was marketing back then. It wasn't something I wanted to do. It was forced upon me by my parents. And then I was in the restaurant industry for 26 years until last March when COVID. So for me, welding was something I always wanted to do and never felt that I had the time or opportunity to do. So I jumped into it both feet, knowing absolutely nothing, and coming out certified in stick welding. And now I just absolutely love it.
Now, how did you find your love for that? Because you mentioned forced upon you. I think a lot of times we get in the concept or the idea or mind frame of trying to please our parents, trying to please other people, and trying to make them happy. But hold up, wait, I'm not happy first, number one. You know what I mean? I'm not happy with what I'm doing. So how did you make sure that you released that, or the burden or any fear that you had to pursue what you actually wanted to do?
Well, for me, I'm a person that if I had to have a desk job, I just couldn't do it. I'm very active. I like to move and do things. I like using my hands to do things. I've also done dog rescue for 15 years. So the restaurant industry for me was a really good income, very flexible hours. And then I'm super active into like outdoor sports and that sort of thing, and four-wheeling, and there's always something breaking. I'm like, you know what? Welding would come in really handy to know how to fix some of the stuff on my own. So now I have tons of friends saying, so once you're done at school, we've got all sorts of projects for you, and that kind of thing. So I actually started making some really cool horseshoe welding art and have a couple trailer projects lined up. I'll be finishing TIG in the next few weeks. And then, like I say, I'll end with MIG and fabrication. So I'm really trying to get the whole scope of everything, get all the knowledge.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, the instructors make all the difference in the world too.
Yeah, and I was just about to ask you and Sarah, how is it going to school during this time, during a global pandemic? How have you been able to adjust during it all?
Natalie, I hope you feel the same as me. It has been awful.
Pretty much.
It has been terrible.
Yeah. It's been interesting, that's for sure. And wearing a mask under a welding hood is really not fun.
Yeah. And especially in stick welding, it gets so hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You guys are talking another language. So after Sarah, you answer this question, I'm gonna need you to break this down for me and anybody else that's watching. Is like, okay, what are they talking about? You said stick welding?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to go over terminology. Go ahead.
Okay. So, anyways, this whole pandemic has been a struggle for all of us. In the school system, it has been difficult because we have to maintain like the 6-foot distance. You have to keep your mask on basically 24/7 while you're in school. I know, I'm not sure how it is for everybody else, but I know with us, we are allowed to take our mask off if we are welding, but if we are not, we have to have them on. It has been difficult, especially with this being my first semester as a full-time teacher. It was a terrible time to start working here, especially like with the pandemic, because everything was so brand new to me anyways. So then you have to throw on top of that, you have to throw the, COVID-19 restrictions and everything like that. It was just awful.
Yeah, and virtual learning for welding is impossible as a hands-on.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to actually be in a room and learn and be hands-on. Like I went to school for a music scholarship. I marched in the band. Shout out to Norfolk State. So you have to be in the band room to practice. You know what I mean? I need to physically be in the band room with the rest of the sections in order to be hands-on so we can go over things. So, how do you practice? And perfect practice makes perfect, but how do you do that in a digital time where we have to social distance due to COVID?
I mean, we have so many measurements in place to keep the students safe on top of all of the employees. Our biggest concern is making sure that everybody does stay safe. We have changed so much to be able to get the students back in the buildings, especially for like all the hands-on programs. It has been difficult. It has been very stressful. Because obviously, like Natalie said, with welding, it's all hands-on. There's no way that you can learn any of this through a computer screen. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is because with all of the hands-on classes, we can't, it'd be pointless to take a class if you're not able to meet in person.
Well, clearly it's still a trade that's truly needed. And I was just looking, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, women only make up approximately 2% of welders.
Yeah.
2%.
Yep.
So moving forward, 2021 and in the future, what would you like to see out of your profession, especially when it comes to women?
More of us.
A lot more. Because my thing is if Natalie and I can do it, then anybody can do it. You just have to have that mindset, and you have to push yourself. You have to push yourself like we had to.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is the only way you can do it. And you have to have a lot of support from your family and friends. I mean, if any females want to reach out to me and talk to me about the welding program, I mean, I'm down for it. You know, I'm going to sit here and tell you that it would be a great decision to make.
So
There's so many different opportunities.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Natalie.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's just so many different opportunities and different paths that you can take with welding. It opens up so much.
And that's what I was just about to ask. You know, are there a few opportunities, or what can you kind of give a brief description on? If you were selling me welding, why I need to be in this profession? You know, maybe I just need to switch gears completely and I need to pick up a trade, because that's one thing that everyone needs. You know what I mean? What would you tell me about it that would really seal the deal? And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Natalie, you got anything?
Well, for me, if you're a self-starter and just have a dogged determination to do something with your own two hands, welding opens up all sorts of doors. You can work from home. You can do mobile welding. You can work factory, whatever your cup of tea is. If you're more comfortable working at a factory and you have benefits on the job and that sort of thing, then I would suggest getting into TIG welding, which is a different process, speaking in English here, but it's the most high paid as far as factory welding is concerned.
I want to chime in to say that POTUS just signed a bill for infrastructure. So not just welding, but any construction trade, they're paying 3 times as much as they did about 3 years ago. So any type of construction trade, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and when you're not working on the site, you can make money personally, because everyone needs help with their house, especially with people being home right now. So it is a very lucrative industry, whatever trade you go into right now. And we're looking, we need it. Everyone's building right now.
Those are facts. Absolutely.
100%.
It's crazy because I was just looking up the fact that statistically, when it comes to women in construction, are numbered 1.5% in the U.S. That's 1.5. We went from 2 in welding to 1.5. You know what I mean? Like how, and it's needed. I'll tell you this, right before I came back to the studio, my water heater bursted, like it was done, like and I had a plumber, I have everyone was coming in to get it replaced and fixed, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can only imagine the stress this brings. But if there wasn't someone there to do the job, it's a need for it, especially now since we spend so much time at home. So when it comes to overall learning a trade, how important is that right now? Because I think it's more of a need more than ever.
I would say right now, people are paying you to learn a trade. People will pay you for getting into the apprenticeship program. And as far as women in construction or the trades, women are, I'm promoting this for women because we can multitask. We can handle high stress. We can handle conflict resolution very, very fast. We know how to not take things personally. You can go from one conflict with mechanical to electrical and just keep switching gears. And I found the women that stay in it are very successful. So that's my plug for women in construction and trade.
I'd say it's a good one.
Shameless plugs. Come on. I feel like, Sue, you might have something to say to chime in on that as well, because overall, women, we always get the misconception, or just, of course, the stereotype of, oh, you're emotional. How can you be in the management position? How can you truly delegate because you're too emotional? And then, of course, when you're a Black woman, oh, it's the stereotypical angry Black woman. Now you're being aggressive because you're being assertive. And you know, how do you make sure to disband and really knock out any misconceptions, any stereotypes, so that people can see you for the person that you are, regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity, and regardless of sexual orientation and race too. I mean, and yeah, sex as well. So how do you make sure to do that?
You know, you just have to be determined. That's all. And you know, that's to piggyback on some of the other things that have been said, that is something women are good at. They're good at being determined. They're good at getting things done, and they're good at, you know, I hear my instructors say all the time, you know, the women, the female welders are so much better. The electricians are better. Their attention to detail, you know, their concentration, ability to learn is sometimes a lot higher than their male counterparts. And you know, I think that you just have to keep going and keep on, you know, doing your best, and you know, eventually things will turn around. Eventually that 2% will be 5. And then as you know, as the money falls from DC for infrastructure and different things, the demand is going to go up and up and up. And it's high now. I mean, we have a welding lab in Indianapolis that runs almost all the time. Someone's always in there learning. And I think that's characteristic across the state. But, you know, the jobs are there, the opportunities are there, and it's a good future. And I think that, you know, just staying with it and just keep going.
For all of you, if you have a daughter or a younger sibling or cousin, you know, would you recommend to her your career path right now?
Absolutely.
I would. Go ahead.
Everyone said at the same time, like, yeah, I would.
Absolutely. I have identical twin daughters. They're 7. What my parents did was they told me you can do anything you put your mind to. And then I put it a little bit forward to say, I'm doing it. So I engage them in what I'm doing now within the construction. And they're like, my mom's in construction, and they love to tell people that and see their reaction. And they're like, no, really. And I also have 2 sons. So they get to see that mom is in this industry, and they're an advocate, even at 8 and 10, to say, hey, no, you can do it because my mom is doing it.
Yes, come on, representation. How important is that? I want to continue this question, but you know, how important is representation still? Because we're still in the less than 5% collectively, I almost want to say, for all of your trades. I think electricians might be the highest for women, actually, at 5%.
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, man, after this and talking to you all, I know it's not. Representation is definitely more so needed. But I mean, Akilah, you're mentioning to your daughters of how you're already setting the example, you're being the example, and you would suggest that to them to be and work within the same career fields. How do you make sure to represent that and have representation? Did you guys have mentors?
Yes, I would say being an African-American female in construction, you have 2 things you have to do. You have to fix your face because they're coming. Adversity will be coming, fix your face, and know how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because you will be tested and challenged. And another differentiator is just being excellent, finding out and studying your craft or studying the drawing so that you know more than everyone else. That is the differentiator they don't see gender and color when you know that you can add value and positively impact the bottom line. And Alexis is being humble, but the electrician, that's where the money resides in electrician.
Hello.
So I highly recommend being an electrician because everybody needs lights, and that's just a small scale.
Okay, money resides. You got to speak now. She put you on the spot.
Yes, the money is good, and as being an electrician, I can admit that. But yes, if you are career-driven, results-driven, you want to see a finished product from beginning to end. Like when we hook up a light, we have to do the wiring first, fit in the light switch, and then we turn the circuit on. If you want to see all that from start to finish, this will be a good career for you. There is problem solving in it, and you get to work with your hands. So it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
When it comes to pay, and this is for everyone, feel free to jump in. If you're teaching your trade, if you're owning it and a VP, if you're the president, if you're an owner of your own business for it, how do you make sure to ask what you're worth when it comes down to money? Maybe there's a few tips that we can discuss about either asking for more money, how a contract is put together in your field. What are some tips that you've learned along the way that are most helpful, especially within your career?
So I'm union, and we all make the same pay. So you don't have to go and ask or see what your brother next to you is making, because we know we all make the same amount. So it's equal fairness all across the board.
Nice.
Is that the same for everyone though?
It is the same. It is the same. When you're working in the field, it is the same. And if you're a foreman, if you're supervising a team, then you make 10% more.
Okay.
I'm going to chime in and say you have to communicate what you've done on a regular basis. I know a lot of women, we feel like, well, I want to be humble and that's my supervisor, he's watching. They're not. And going in and explaining what you've done and how you led a team, and to just put it out there what you feel you're worth and have that conversation. And if there's a no, then ask why and what factors do play into getting raises, and then make sure the next time that you check those boxes, but you have to ask. You won't get it unless you ask.
Yeah, and keep asking. Again, just the determination. It's in a male-dominated field. Your supervisors are sometimes all males. So you really have to just keep asking and keep improving and say, okay, I did these 5 things, and so now I should be at this level, and just keep going. It's it's something that you really have to be committed to, and again, sometimes our nature is to be more in a supportive role and be more humble maybe than our male counterparts, but we certainly can step up to the task.
Now, Sarah, how does that apply for you teaching right now?
So I am salary. So the way that I see it is, it just really depends on your workload. Like for me, I'm working like 5 out of 5 days a week. Typically we get Fridays off, but I have a class that runs on Friday. I also pick up multiple different extra classes. So if we go off a contract, so a contract is basically like 4 to 5 classes. That's a full contract. But if we go anything over that, then we get paid extra. So it's a separate contract. It really just depends. I mean, if they need us working over extra, like over a holiday or over Christmas break or anything like that, they are typically nice enough to try and get a separate contract for us during that time, because we technically aren't supposed to work during that time. Like this last semester, we had a bunch of construction going on at our welding shop, and they ended up paying paying extra for us to come in and work on the shop to get it up and going for the students before school started.
Gotcha. Okay. I do have like a few more questions as well. Overall, during this time, during COVID, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment?
For me personally, it was going back to school, knowing nothing about welding and coming out learning, trying to absorb all the information that I could. Watching YouTube videos in my spare time just to get some additional skills and tips and tricks and that sort of stuff. So for me, it was going back to school to learn something different.
I think for me, during this whole COVID time, it has helped me realize that, I mean, everything can change within a blink of an eye, and you may never be ready for that change, but over time you get used to it and you learn how to cope with it. And for me, I've learned different ways of how I'm going to have to teach the students. And I mean, it's a long process, but a lot of my students have been very understanding during this time. So
I would chime in and say my greatest accomplishment during the pandemic was the pivot. So I started my business January 6, 2020, and then corporations started freezing construction projects that were new. I took all the 21 years of construction information and experience and put it into an online course. And I launched the course in July. And by the end of the year, there were 3 subcontractors that were struggling. They implemented some of the processes they learned from the online course, and now they were profitable. So they turned around a negative, not only for debt, but also the pandemic, and they made money. The first time in their life they made money and in a pandemic. And I think that was my greatest accomplishment, is just to be able to share with others what I've learned.
I know you guys have more accomplishments than this. I feel like you're being slightly modest. So please share them all. It's okay. We're going to give each other our flowers.
I would say during the pandemic, being able to stay focused is a big accomplishment, because obviously this is a stressful time, and be able to stay focused and keep working, knowing that you have a job in front of you, that businesses still need to keep running. So it's an accomplishment to just stay focused and keep going.
So for me, it's the work that the faculty have done over the course of this pandemic, because we train essential workers, and we train, the trades are essential. They're considered essential workers. Manufacturing, those are essential workers, or you don't get the COVID tests, and you don't get the, the chemical or the medications that you need. So the manufacturing sector has to stay working, just like the healthcare sector. And so having our faculty go in and stay safe and keep the students safe and, still turn out those essential workers has been very rewarding. And I will say one of the greatest accomplishments I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, during this time, I think it's just, number one, fortunate to have success in anything. Number one, being alive. You know what I mean? Because so many people got sick, got ill, passed, and we're able to have this conversation and be here. Number two, you guys have the skill of a trade. I feel like, I looked forward to possibly learning a trade back in elementary school. I used to see it on shows and movies and everything, right? People were in woodshop class. You saw that. You don't see that now. By the time I got to high school, they didn't have such classes or offer it. So, Sue, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I think that goes straight into, how did you get started at IB Tech? And really, when it comes to, maybe this is an interest of mine going into figuring out a new trade, when it comes to trade 101, what should I look forward to and what should I sign up for?
Sure. The way I got into it again was, I was always interested in manufacturing, and I worked my way through college in a manufacturing facility. And so when I got out, I thought, hey, I'm just going to give this a try and And so I already had the experience and I went to work there. When I started in education, I started to support apprenticeship programs because I saw in manufacturing how critical apprenticeship programs were. And they're the best way to learn a skill because you learn by doing. So you've got the experience on the job and you've also got, the education in the classroom. So it's a great way to learn. And that's the way our classes are taught. We teach our classes so that there is that hands-on applied learning throughout the entire degree. And the way that folks get started with this is just, either call or email or something, just contact your Ivy Tech campus or, the main campus at Ivy Tech via website and get started. It's, we have mentors, we have career coaches, we have all kinds of support to help students. And we also have short-term training. We have industry recognized certifications that you can get that are short-term and you can start into a career as Natalie did. And, we've got all kinds of financial aid that's out there and grants and all kinds of ways to support that. And we are very inexpensive. I mean, we are the largest community college in the United States. And we also are very, very reasonably priced as far as higher education goes.
So thank you. Thank you so much, Sue. Now, when it comes to, going into the trade profession, when I'm thinking about maybe this is a new career path that I want to get into, when I'm creating my schedule, my freshman year, what are a few classes I should be looking at?
So we don't, most of our students work, a lot of our students work, and especially in my school. So they usually have employer partners who encourage them in what classes to take. Most of our students, depending on what program you go into, they take different classes. So there are entry-level classes for electricians, and there are entry-level classes for the construction trades and for welding and so on and so forth. So there are all the classes have those entry-level classes. But I will say that, they're not like English 111 and they're not like some of the things that we took. When I say entry level, I mean introduction to welding or, introduction to construction or something like that. In manufacturing, we have a certified production technician, for example, that we train. So there are lots of ways that there are lots of different ways that you can go, and typically students will have chosen one of those, and the entry level courses are there for them.
Okay, perfect. I think we answered and covered everything, but I really want to conclude this by asking you all, what advice would you give women looking to make a career change? But more importantly, what's the advice that you would have given yourself as soon as you're thinking about making this career change? Because I think that's the better question to ask, and more important for someone that could have easily been in the same situation you were before you invested in yourself to get here.
I would say follow your heart. Don't worry about what other people are thinking. Follow your passion. Pursue the career that you would like to do. You don't have to worry about what other people are thinking. Just break that stereotype and just follow your heart.
Yeah. And if you're waiting for the perfect time to do it, that will never happen. So you just need to take that leap of faith and just give it a whirl, give it your all. And that's all anybody can expect.
I would say believe in yourself and be greater than anyone's greatest expectation of you. And don't take it personal. Keep going.
Only you can fail yourself. You decide how your future is going to be, and just do it if you want to. You got to push yourself.
So I think for these kinds of roles, the opportunities are greater than they ever have been, at least greater than they've been in the time I've been in industry and in this sector. And so I think if you want a great job and you like to do these kinds of things and you're a very applied learner, for example, just try. Just try. And what have you got to lose?
That's true. What do you have to lose? I love the fact that this title of our seminar is Women Building the Future, because you all are literally doing that figuratively and literally. Like you're doing that, you know. So thank you so much. This is being brought to you by Ivy Tech. And is there any contact information that you all would like to share today?
Sure. I mean, my email address is sgsmith@ivytech.edu, and I'm happy to help anyone in any way I can. So yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, my contact information, you can go to Darden Group LLC online, dardengroupllc.com, or my email is Akilah, that's AKILAH @dardengroupllc.com. If you get into the trades and keep going and become an entrepreneur.
Mine is S. Isaac, ISAAC2 @ivytech.edu. If anybody has any questions about the welding program or is interested in it.
So if anybody's interested in becoming an electrician, I would encourage them to apply at Electrical Training Institute. You can Google it and find the web address. And also a good program is the Indiana Plan. They show you different other construction trades. So you can Google them and you'll find their web address. And that's a good program to go after.
Perfect. And Natalie, did you have anything that you needed to share too?
I'm sorry?
Did you have anything that you could possibly share too?
I mean, if anyone wants to email me questions about, what my experience with the welding program at Ivy Tech has been, I'd be happy to answer that. I don't know. I don't really have, as far as like a career thing to share with them, but I can certainly
expound. Yes, you do. It's on the way. It is on the way. You already in school. Listen, it's on the way.
Yeah, but I can give my first hand experience with the welding program. And so my email would be n.solberg, SOLBERG @ivytech.edu.
There we go. Because experience is the best teacher.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you so much for your time today. This was truly informative. And more importantly, it really puts the highlight and spotlight on careers in trade that we don't necessarily talk enough about. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Get more details at hot963.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube page at Hot963. And of course, we're building the future. Women here are building the future. The past, present, and future is happening right now with Careers in Trade, being brought to you by Ivy Tech.
Why do more students choose Ivy Tech Community College over any other school? Ivy Tech offers flexibility, a wide variety of programs, and thousands of classes, including online options. Our certificates and degrees get students into a great career quickly. And if you want an affordable path to a bachelor's degree, we have guaranteed admissions programs with most four-year universities in Indiana. So you can start at Ivy Tech and transfer as a junior. Ready for a great education at the lowest cost? Complete a free application today.